I can say they haven't got better, like with those moves. Does that mean they got worse? No, I think you look at it, they've kind of just stayed the same. The top 6 definitely has gotten better. The bottom 6, I think, has gotten slower. They take out speed, and today's NHL, speed kills. You take out Warren Fogle, you take out Dylan Holloway, you take out Ryan McLeod, and
who all had their issues, but they could skate.
They
could skate.
So this team
Bottom
is
6 is
significantly
way slower.
older. Bottom 6 has gotten slower and older. And then on the right side, man, like it's just the defense in general. Like you had NHLers, and now you're fitting in Ty Emberson, who could be an NHLer. Josh Brown, I don't know about that. It's just at the end of the day, they're not nearly as deep. The part that annoys me the most is just the fact that you spend all this time, especially with Broberg. It's been 6 years. You're just developing this guy, or just watching him, and then he's finally good. He's finally there. Like if this way, he would have been a starter, right? That's no questions. He would have been a starter this year. And that's where it's annoying, because you wait all this time. You do so much time, or you just do so much in developing this player just for what? A second round pick? So that's the part I'm most annoyed at. And people that disagree with me are saying it's an overpay. It's an overpay. You don't, but where I'm at is I see significant value in this player. It might be an overpay now, but by the end of the season, I think he could be a $4.5 million player. And I guess just that's my 2 cents. And then for Dylan Holloway, it might be a slight overpay. But I honestly think he could be a 40, 50 point player. And if you're paying $2.2 million for a guy where I see him being a 40 to 50 point player, that's not really an overplay. That's pretty good bang for your buck.
If they were a team that wasn't so up against the cap, and they gave Dylan Holloway, let's just say $2 million a year, I don't think anybody in town's freaking out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think people are just like, yeah, okay, it might be a little bit of an overpay, but there's certainly some untapped potential there. He's going to have more of an opportunity to live up to that right now, so we can understand where they're coming from. If they're a team that have cap space, obviously they don't have cap space. That's why they've been put in the spot that they're in right now. Now, how much of this, so we look at the conversation now, and it's been a really weird off season of conversations, because they go and almost win the Stanley Cup. So then there's this automatic sort of proud of them, but still sad with the defeat. Then they have this Jeff Jackson free agency that we're all praising, and when it looked like they weren't going to sneak in another guy, they snuck in another guy. When it looked like they weren't going to get another guy, they got another guy. And at the time, you're sitting there going, wow, I mean, they've done a really good job. They can keep Broberg and Holloway here. It's going to be good. I don't know how they're going to get under the cap with it, but they've done a lot of good work there. So, and then the Bowman hiring happens, and whatever side you come out on the hiring of Stan Bowman and getting a second crack, and not just getting a second chance, but getting like the best second chance ever, that was a conversation. Then you get the offer sheets. Then you see them make some moves, move out CC that you think is going to lead to matching at least one of the offer sheets. Then they let them both walk. Really fascinating offseason, the ups and downs. But, at one point, the offseason looked great. If we get to a spot in the future where they manage to keep Leon Draisaitl, and they wouldn't have been able to do that because they've got $7 million tied up in Holloway and Broberg, do you think we all look back at it and go, oh, boy, thank God they didn't give those two guys the money, because where else would they have got the $7 million for Draisaitl?
Yeah.
I think that there's a chance we look back on it and go, phew. Even though right now you're sitting there going, ugh. Tough look, because you're so bad at managing your cap, it just cost you these two guys.
Philip Broberg, he approached his Zoom call, or whatever you want to call his.
What did you think of that though?
Yeah, Broberg seemed a lot more business. Like, it was a business, but like with Holloway, in my opinion, I was like, man, I think he was really banking on the Oilers to match the offer.
Deer in headlights, man.
Yeah, like he was. Yeah. I honestly, that's like in my opinion, I think there was a little bit of regret there. Who knows? That's just what I saw. Because for Holloway, like going forward, you look at Broberg, he can definitely bring a lot more to the Blues, their defense. He's going to be the guy there, right? Broberg wouldn't have been the guy here. But for Holloway, he could have built up his stock a lot more, I feel like, playing with the Oilers. As we've seen, the top 6, it is pretty... You've got Skinner, you've got Arvidsson. But if he did get that spot, which I think he could have at one point, we saw this past year, I think he's putting up more points with Connor and Leon. So there is that as well. So
they could have made Holloway work.
They could have
if they really wanted to keep him. So I think that might like they could have made Holloway work even without Kane going on the LTIR if they wanted to. They would have had to send down a couple of guys that can clear, but you could have got the 2.2 mil if you wanted. And I think that probably stings them even more, knowing that there was a way and they were still like, see you later, kid.